In an ancient oasis, at the foot of tall palm trees, sat a wise sheikh. A young man approached him and asked, "Teacher, what should I never tell my children, even when they become adults?" The sheikh rose and led the young man beyond the settlement. By the wall of a half-ruined house, they saw a poor man. He sat with slumped shoulders, dividing a piece of stale bread into tiny pieces. His eyes were empty, only the shadow of humiliation lived in them. "This man knows the price of hunger," said the sheikh. "If his sons knew every detail of his poverty, what would take root in their hearts?" "Fear and shame," replied the young man. "Yes, they would grow up seeing the world through the eyes of the defeated. Even at a full table, they would feel emptiness. Remember, do not open all the wounds of your soul to your children. Otherwise, they will live with your fears, not their own strength." At the market, two brothers who were merchants stood facing each other, consumed by rage. Their shouts drew a crowd. "When parents tell their children every evil that has touched them," said the sheikh, "they place a sack of stones upon the child's shoulders, stones that belong to others. Children begin to see the world through the lens of someone else's enmity. They become prisoners of grievances they never committed. Do not tell your children every wrong done between you and others." At the edge of the city, an old man sat on a stone, boasting to passers-by. "In my youth, I was cunning as a fox. I deceived many and became rich." Beside him sat no sons, no grandsons. "When a father tells his son about sin, as if it were a triumph," said the sheikh, "the son will inherit that sin. But if the father speaks of his sin with such shame that his words are filled with humiliation, the child's heart will grow cold, and a wall will rise between them. Do not tell your children everything about your sins. Let them walk their own path." They returned to the oasis. The sheikh looked at the sunset and said, "Never open to your children all your fears about the future. If you tell them, the world is falling apart, people are evil, their souls will fill with darkness before they face their first trials. The sun departs, but it leaves behind its light, so the night holds no terror. So too a father, he may fear the darkness, but to his children he must leave the radiance of hope." The sheikh took a handful of sand, and the grains trickled through his fingers. When a man shares only his anxieties with his children, they become prisoners of what has not yet happened. But if you give them faith, they will become like the palms by the oasis. They will stand firm, even in the desert. The young man bowed his head. "So there are things that must die with the father, so that children may live their own destiny?" The sheikh smiled gently. "Exactly. Love is not only what we reveal to our children, but also what we carefully conceal, so that their path may be lighter." The sun sank behind the dunes, and the young man's heart filled with peace. He understood, true love for your children is not the desire to bind them to you, but the ability to release them forward, keeping silent about what might rob them of their strength.